Hi everyone, this is Julianne Victoria of Through the Peacock's Eyes. Welcome to my channel and welcome to the 2021 Year Ahead Vedic Astrology readings. These readings will be based on your Vedic Astrology ascendant or moon sign. You can listen to both to kind of get a fuller picture of the year ahead. If you don't know your Vedic Astrology ascendant or moon sign, you can Google search a free online Vedic Astrology calculator and you should be able to get those there. Make sure it says it is Vedic Astrology or Indian Astrology or Sidereal Astrology, so you can get the correct signs. And they'll likely to be a sign different than your Western astrology ones, though there is a little overlap in there as well. Now, during these videos, I may reference a few of the things, the books, the decks I've created that I created to help other people learn Vedic astrology. The first one is my book, Shedding Light on Jyotisha, Vedic Astrology for Beginners, and I have a video or two on my channel where I talk about that a little bit more in depth, but the links are all down below in the description box if you're interested in checking that out. I also have a Vedic Astrology Oracle and the Vedic Astrology Study Deck, which would be a great tool to learn Vedic astrology. I also have a course, Shedding Light on Your Karma and Dharma in Vedic Astrology. It's a mini course. It's about an hour and a half long. Bunch of little videos broken up, and it's only $11. Again, the link is below if you want to check that out to start to learn how to look at your chart and look at your karma and dharma. Like, why are you here? What are you here to do? What are you here to learn? How are you here to grow? I will be hopefully soon in the new year have my next course, which I go through the nakshatras in Vedic astrology. Journey through the nakshatras is probably the title. I haven't officiated that yet. So hopefully that will be out soon or in the early part of 2021. And if you're interested in a reading for the year ahead, Vedic astrology, I also do Western astrology, tarot readings. Those you can purchase on my website. I will be reopening readings November 22nd or so. I've been closed for a while to focus on my book. So you can sign up for my newsletter to be notified or just check back to my website, juliannevictoria.com. Again, links are all below if you want to book a reading with me or schedule a recorded reading for the year ahead for you. Okay, all that being said, let's move on to your horoscope for the year ahead. The charts you will see will be charts laid out based on your ascendant or moon sign, so you, the viewer, can have a clearer understanding of where the transits are as the year begins and how that lays out for you for the year ahead. All right, thank you everyone and enjoy your reading. Hi Sagittarius, welcome to your 2021 year ahead Vedic astrology reading or horoscope. So here we have a chart for January 1st, so how the year starts out, where the planets are for you as this year begins. And I just have the time shifted so that Sagittarius is the first house. So you can see how this might lay on your natal chart if you have a copy of your natal chart. So we have the house numbers here on the perimeter. If you're not familiar, the signs are here inside the houses, and the ones in color are the planets. So let's start with your first house, Sagittarius, because we have the Sun and Mercury here. In these readings, what I'm feeling with the Sun's energy, so in the natal chart, in your birth chart, the Sun would represent your soul, but this is a general reading for a year ahead. And what I'm feeling with the Sun's energy is where our joy is, not our only joy, right? But where we're going to feel really happy and joyous, and where our inner light is going to shine brighter in this year. And we have the Sun here, of course, in your own sign of Sagittarius. And it's your first house, whether you're ascendant or you're looking at this from your moon chart. Really just being yourself. I feel this year of 2021, it's really important for you to just be you. Now, some of this might have to do with, of course, 2020 and the pandemic, which is still probably going on as 2021 begins. I'm recording this in November 2020. But it's like being able to shine all your Sagittarian fire, basically. Really just to be out there. Sagittariuses usually like to travel, to explore. To me, it's the adventurer sign. really just getting to be more of you. So this can definitely be a result of, hopefully, this is a sign as well, that the pandemic is going to ease up or lessen or maybe go away in the earlier part of 2021. But I do see you really getting to just shine your light in a way that you haven't been able to, either in your lifetime, depending on how old you are, or in contrast to 2020. Now, of course, we have Mercury here. Mercury is always close to the sun because he's close to the sun in the sky. He's never more than a sign away, often in the same sign as we have here. So Mercury is in Sagittarius as the year begins. And I really see this as enhancing your ideas. So Sagittarius is a sign that has lots of ideas. It's fire sign, it's excited. Again, it's that adventure feeling, like lots of ideas. Oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do that. I want to travel there. I want to experience this. And Mercury almost in a sense helps to organize it in your mind so that you can actually put all those ideas into actions, into activities, into manifesting in your life. Mercury's the magician too, manifestation. So if you're a Sagittarius who in the past year, because of the pandemic or maybe personal things or other things going on in the world or in your life, and you haven't really been able to bring to fruition, something you've wanted to do, a great idea you have had, or a trip or an adventure that you wanted to go on, there's a good possibility it's going to happen this year of 2021. Okay. Now let's look at Jupiter and Saturn here together. So Jupiter and Saturn are, as you can see, within 1 degree as the year begins in the sign of Capricorn. Saturn will be here all year and into 2022. Jupiter will be here for about 2/3 of the year and I'll get to him, but let's start with Saturn. So in this Saturn-Jupiter conjunction, and I want to mention I did make a video talking about their conjunction and how to work with their energies together, because they can definitely and most often are seen as opposing energies. But if you can work, but mostly it's working with the Saturn energy, of course. If you can work with the Saturn energy, then the Jupiter energy gets to fulfill itself more, if that makes sense. So let's start with Saturn here. So we have Saturn in his own sign of Capricorn. So he's very strong here. He's very much at home. And this is your second house. The second house is the house of money, gains, finances, possessions, what you value in life, how you value yourself or your sense of self-worth. And Saturn being very sturdy, strong, and grounded here. He's naturally sturdy and strong. When it comes to money and finances and gains and your possessions, and even what is of value to you, you're going to hold firm and strong to those things. This position, Saturn in the second house, and enhanced, enhanced by him being here in Capricorn, it tells me that this year and even 2022 is a great time to invest your money, your finances into long-term gains or benefits. So that could be, if it's actually like cash money, that you set up a retirement or you do long-term stock investments, or if it's going to play out in the possessions you gain this year, that you invest in things that will last a long term. So let's say, for example, you need a new oven. Don't buy an old one that's been sort of repaired but is going to break down in a year. You buy a brand new one that has good ratings and has a good reputation and is going to last you 40, 50 years, things like that. You don't, this energy, it's like, don't throw your money away on things that aren't going to last, basically. And with the things you already possess, because it is a house of possessions, your stuff, that's what I call it, the house of stuff. You might be evaluating and looking at the things you have during 2021 and asking yourself, does this have value to me? So material or monetary value, or personal value, sentimental value. And I think things that don't have any value to you either way, financial or sentimental or meaningful, you might sell and bring in gains that way, or give away, or things like that. It's really about wanting to have and hold on to the things that mean something to you or are good investments. Okay. Now, here we have also Jupiter, as I mentioned, and Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. So you have your ruler here conjoined Saturn, and Jupiter is debilitated in Capricorn. So I've said this in many other videos. In this conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter in Capricorn, Saturn has the upper hand. It's his sign. He's very much at home. He's very strong and sturdy, and Jupiter is debilitated. So what that means is you can't overthrow or push past or knock over any slowdowns, challenges, obstacles, or hurdles that Saturn might throw your way when it comes to second house matters. So let's say, for example, you need a new car and you're just gonna buy that old car from a friend of yours to get you around. So this is like trying to force the Jupiter energy. Like, no, I'm gonna get that car now. I'm gonna rush it. I'm not gonna be patient and evaluate like Saturn wants. I'm just gonna like get it now. Or you have this urge to go on a shopping spree and you end up overspending. So the negative side of Jupiter is excess. You overspend and you've lost you use up all your savings, or let's say you get a bonus from work and you blow it all off and you realize you spent it all on things that either break or don't work, or you really don't want, or don't have any value to you or meaning to you, and you squander it. So that's sort of how this could negatively play out. But because Saturn is so strong here, that's likely not going to happen unless you know that you need to rein in your spending. If you're someone who like buys things on a whim, then really rein yourself in this year. This is not the year to do that. This is a year to invest properly, to invest wisely, to invest for long term, whether it's buying that new oven or refrigerator or car or whatever, or putting money away for later time, or looking at the things you have and seeing what of your possessions, what of your stuff you really like. That's kind of to put it simply. And when you work with the Saturn energy, then Jupiter gets a chance to bring in his lucky expansion and growth and gains. So bring it all together, working with this, investing, being thoughtful about what you purchase and buy, will over time, and I'll say including this year, bring in great gains. Okay. So Jupiter is here until middle of April, and then he moves into Aquarius until September, when he retrogrades back into Capricorn until the end of November, and then in December he's back in Aquarius. When Jupiter's in Aquarius, he's not debilitated, so he's freer, and it's almost like with your reading, like I want to take this big breath, and that's probably because he's your ruler. It's sort of like okay, now I can work my Jupiter lucky magic, so to speak. And when he retrogrades back after being free, so in September, that could actually be a time when greater gains come in if you've worked with the Saturn energy. I'll say it that way. If you've been wise and not rushed things and thought about long-term gains and what has value for you. Now, when Jupiter's in Aquarius for you, it's your third house of communication, short distance travel, neighbors, community. And I'm kind of getting that travel energy, short distance travel. So during that time, you might go on more shorter trips, like a weekend trip or possibly even a week trip. It's not like way overseas, halfway around the world. It's going to be a little closer, even though Jupiter is overseas travel, Jupiter and Sagittarius. Third house is short distance travel. So it could be a little longer than, just a day trip or a weekend trip. But I feel like, yeah, that big, deep breath and sigh of relief of Jupiter is just going to be like, oh, now I can go here and I want to go do this. So it brings in this like the shining joy of the sun here in your first house of like, oh, now I can like pursue that idea or go check out that place I wanted to visit or visit my friends, things that you have that have been restricting over the past year of 2020. Okay, opposite Jupiter and Saturn, we have the moon here in her own sign of Cancer, which is really great. It's in the 8th house. The 8th house is the house of the esoteric, the occult, which includes astrology, death, change, transformation, all that which is hidden and secret. And I'm actually feeling the sort of hidden and secret energy coming up here. Not that the other things aren't at play with this moon in Cancer for the new year for you. So moon represents our emotions, our intuitions, and Cancer is the very watery sign, which is also emotions in this 8th house of secrets. What I'm feeling here, it could go both ways, like you're the secret keeper, but what I'm feeling more is some secrets or just things that have not been known. So it's not necessarily like someone's like, oh, keep a secret from Sagittarius. It's like just things that have not been known come out this year that trigger a big emotional response for you. Now, again, it could go the other way where you're the secret keeper, even if you're not like consciously thinking, oh, I'm keeping the secret, but something comes out that triggers emotional response in others. But I'm not feeling that very strongly. I feel like things are gonna come to light and be revealed to you. This could be by friends and family. It could be connected to the occult and esoteric things, that things come to light and it triggers this emotional response. This is the house of, death and transformation. So hopefully it's not through the passing of someone, hopefully. But it could be, I want to say, a separation from someone, like someone moves away. Yeah, that's coming in actually very strong. Like friends move away or you move away because you have this freedom coming in for you this year ahead. And it triggers that big life change, triggers a bigger emotional response in you than you would have thought or expected. But it's not bad. It's just, it's opening something up within you. It's opening something mysterious within you, within your soul, within your spiritual journey. So see how that plays out. It's going to be stronger for some people than others. But again, it doesn't feel bad or horrible. So I think it's just, there's a change and something is revealed by other people or possibly from within yourself that opens you up emotionally in a way you've not yet experienced. Okay. Now let's talk about the nodes. We have Rahu here, which would be called the North Node if you're coming from a Western perspective, and Ketu here, which would be the South Node. They're always opposite each other. You have them on your 6th house and 12th house axis. North Node is in Taurus, South Node is in Scorpio. In some sources, that's their exaltation position. In other sources, it's their debilitation positions. There are discrepancies and there's not an overall agreement on exaltation and debilitation for the nodes. I tend to see the nodes as very strong wherever they are. So if you're wondering about that, that's what it is. And I just see them for their placement and position. I've not, in my experience, seen any significant difference between all the various exaltation and debilitation positions. So that being said, you have Rahu here, motivation, ambition, the head. I want to say focus. In your sixth house, sixth house is a house of work, your everyday activities. I call it the chore house. Hobbies. It's also significantly health. And I'm feeling the health energy here. North node in your sixth house of health. I feel like Sagittarius is determined to do something. I don't want to say better. I want to say something different for your health. And it doesn't, like, it's hard to explain the feeling. It's not quite, I want to do something like you want to improve your diet or you want to improve your physical activity. It's more like, it's taking me to the first house, which is interesting. It's more like you want to be who you're meant to be health-wise. I know this is a really weird way of saying this, but it's like this determination, like, this is what I want to do and this is what I can do and this is what I need to do it. So let's say you want to run a marathon and you're like, you've never run one before. You're like, you got the sun in your first house. You're like, you know what? I can focus on this. I can get the training in. I can eat better. I can, whatever it is you need to do. You're focused, you're determined, you're ambitious, you're going to do it. That's the type of energy I'm picking up. And it doesn't mean you're all going to run a marathon. That's just my example there. But it's like this determination that plays out somehow in your health. And it feels positive. It feels like it's in a good way. Yeah. And it's in Taurus, which is, very earthy. It's very grounded energy. I feel like that helps to, I'll say, ground you, center you. I was getting my words mixed up there. Keep you on earth. Yeah. Especially when the time comes, whether it begins January 1st or it's later in the year, when you really feel this sun joy energy of just being you. When you're able to be out there more and do the adventures you want. So this might be the connection I'm feeling, is the adventure plays out in some sort of health activity that's different than what you've done before. Okay, lastly, we're almost done there. Let's look at K2 here. So K2 is up here in the 12th house. K2 represents the past lives, past karma. In a transit chart like this, and in these 2021 readings that I've been doing, the energy I'm getting off of K2 is the past year specifically. Not that those other things can't play in, but I feel like K2 is what we are or what we will be moving away from in 2021 because of the circumstances of 2020. K2 is also the spiritual seeker. So, and he represents separation, which I want to add that in. So we have K2 here in the 12th. 12th house is the house of the psyche, the collective unconscious, the dream world, yoga, meditation, liberation. And this K2 energy here in the 12th, in the sign of Scorpio, a very deep sign, is like what or we'll say 2020 gave you the opportunity, and this doesn't mean every Sagittarius took the opportunity, but gave you the opportunity to dive deep within your psyche and on your spiritual path. And what you can take from that, of course, that's going to be different for each person, but whatever spiritual growth happened in the past year is what can support you and support this opening up, this shining of who you are in 2021. But it also affirms for me this sort of getting out there more, going on more adventures, traveling more, exploring more, fulfilling your ideas, bringing them to fruition more this year. And then K2 here is conjoined Venus. And Venus is creativity and beauty, love, luxury, the arts. And I feel like Sagittarius, because I'm feeling a lot of like struggle energy because of 2020 and the pandemic and lockdowns and all that. Because Sagittarius energy likes to be out there. So I'm feeling like there's been a lot of frustration for a lot of Sagittariuses. That as you move through 2021 and you can reflect back on 2020 and what was the past, and reflect back on and see how much you grew within, how much spiritual growth there was, whether it was a specific like religious spiritual type path or not. I think you're gonna, the Venus energy, see the beauty in the whole experience as you reflect back and see how that helped you to grow, see how that helped you to transform. Scorpio is a sign of transformation. See how that helped you to transform into the Sagittarius that you have become in 2021. And again, that opens up, it's opened up a new door or window for your light to shine. Okay, and lastly, we have Mars here in his own sign of Aries. So he's very strong as well, strong and Martian energy for the year ahead as the year begins. In the 5th house of creativity, it's also a house of romance. So those of you on the dating scene or who have been single and you haven't been able to date much because of the pandemic, or you want to like get out there and meet people, this is great energy and support for that. For those who are creative or you're creating something, this is also a house where entrepreneurship is associated. And that came up a lot, I think in the Virgo reading, I can't remember. One of them, I think it was Virgo. And this strong Mars, fire, action, activity, also ambitious energy and passionate energy, like all that passion can be put into, you know, an entrepreneurial effort, or because it's Aries, which is the initiatory, you know, first sign of the zodiac, and it's an initiatory sign. Like you can actually get going on this. This could be where some of those ideas that have just been like on hold can play out very energetically, very creatively. This is also the house of children. I'm not feeling a ton of strong children energy with the Mars energy here. Of course, that doesn't mean if you're a Sagittarius and you're pregnant or you want to have kids that you won't. But I feel the stronger message here is in that initiatory, getting going on things you want to create and do and make of your life, basically. Okay, Sagittarius, that is your year ahead, how the year begins, the transits that sort of set the year in motion for you. If you'd like to know more how this plays out for you personally, so we look at how the transits lay on your natal chart, you can get a personal reading. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Share this with another Sagittarius out there that you know, and I will see you back here soon.